Hello, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. By the way, Representative Conyers retired today from the House. So one down. All right. We're going to jump gears. We're going to, of course, Republicans passed major tax reform in the House and the Senate, and they got to have a conference committee to put it all together, hopefully before the end of the year. We've been joined by Mr. Mark Lotter, former press secretary to Vice President Pence, who is also, I guess you're with the Republican Party right now. Am I correct?
I'm consulting for them, and I'm also serving as a spokesperson for the president and vice president's political efforts on the outside.
Well,
so thanks for having me.
Well, no doubt about it. Thank you. All righty, two bills passed, major tax reform, and I guess for us, Mark, people like to know how it's going to affect people in Louisiana. I do talk to people in Texas, Mississippi, and Arkansas. Talk about the bill. Talk about what you think will be the final bill when they reconcile. And do you think this will happen before Christmas, not after the first of the year?
Absolutely. We're very confident there's going to be a great Christmas present for the American people signed by President Trump in the tax cut and jobs plan. Basically, what it means is if you just to give you an example, if you're an average American family of four making about, say $60,000 a year, which is about the national average, this bill means about $1,200 to $1,500 more in your pocket through tax cuts when you go to file your taxes a year from in April of 2019. Also, what many of the economists believe is that it's going to also cause about a $4,000 increase in your salary in the coming years, looking forward. And then we already know, as we've seen many times before through history, that we're going to see more jobs and greater economic growth, and that's good for Americans out there, but it's also good for the country as a whole.
Oh, no doubt about it. If you just joined us, Mark Lotter, former press secretary to Vice President Pence, is our special guest today. Mark, one of the big things that I'm excited about, and I'm not a corporation, I'm just a little small company, but what I'm excited about for the country, and I want you to talk about a little bit, is taking the tax rate, the corporate tax rate from 35 to 20%, how that may affect jobs and job growth and really affect our companies here in the United States of America.
Well, as the president has said many times, we have at 35% one of the highest corporate tax rates of the industrialized world, and it's providing a disincentive for companies to invest in America, which is one of the reasons why you see so many major companies taking their operations to other countries, which is costing Americans jobs. So by bringing that down to 20%, it will free up a lot of money, trillions of dollars that major companies are holding offshore so they don't have to pay those exorbitant taxes. But also it will put more money in the hands of those companies to be able to create jobs, invest in new factories, raise wages, and that's one of the reasons why the president has championed the corporate side. I mean, just to give you some history, when President Reagan cut taxes back in the 1980s, we saw nearly 15 million jobs created in the years thereafter, and incomes raised about 20%. So that's very meaningful growth, and we're already seeing what's going on in the stock markets and with economic confidence in the businesses and consumers just because of the things that the president's already doing. Mm-hmm. When we add tax reform and tax cuts on top of that, we're really going to have the American economy strong again like it used to be.
Yeah, I remember the days when nothing was going right when Carter was the president. Reagan came in and made some big moves, and everything changed. Not only did it change financially, it changed in attitude. The whole American attitude changed.
It's absolutely true. And, I had the privilege of serving with the Vice President, Mike Pence, and I remember during the campaign, we went out to the Reagan Library in California where he gave a big speech. And it's amazing when you look at the similarities between the times. Under the previous 8 years with Barack Obama, we had, stagnant growth, and the media was out there trying to get us to accept that slow growth was the new normal. You rightfully said how miserable the late 70s were. But when you brought in Republican leadership like Ronald Reagan back then and like we have with President Donald Trump right now, you see not only economic confidence, but you see the world reacting to strong leadership, whether it's going after our enemies, destroying ISIS, confronting terrorism. And as we see with what's going on with North Korea right now, you see the world responding to American leadership again, and a strong America that's going to make the world a safer place.
I don't know if you can answer this. By the way, we're speaking with Mr. Mark Lauder, former press secretary to Vice President Pence and consultant with the Republican Party. This tax deal, now I know we got to go to conference committee. You may want to talk about that a little bit, but how does it affect Louisiana? Will it affect Louisiana and our citizens? Do you know? Because I know we read where some of the tax breaks could hurt some states and help others, hurt the people and help others, depending on how you were filing your taxes. Do you know how it will affect Louisiana?
Well, I don't have any specific numbers in terms of the impact on Louisiana, but again, aside from, one of the things that I'll tell you is take a look at, both bills. They double the standard deduction. So, that's the money that just comes right off the top that becomes tax-free. And if you're on the lower and lower middle class side of that, that means more of that money that you're earning is not going to even be taxed. Maybe you won't be taxed, in addition to lowering tax rates. And then for the corporations, the small companies that are out there, cutting the corporate pass-through rate, which if you're a small business person, you know that a lot of your business income you claim on your personal income taxes, and you're taxed at usually that highest rate. Mm-hmm. Bringing that down, capping that at, say, 25%, which is what the House bill does, that is going to allow your small business to have much more income out there to be able to grow, to invest, maybe hire new workers or give your workers a raise. And so many people work for small businesses out there. So there are a lot of great things that are happening in this bill that will benefit people in Louisiana. The doubling of the standard deduction is really important, especially for those people who might be, at the lower end and the middle income. That means a lot.
Mark, I know they're going to have the conference committee. They still got to go through the process. Do you think this will be done this year? And I hope it is, but just your thoughts on it being done this year, I'm going to say before Christmas. And I know they're not there much longer, but will it be done before Christmas? And it needs to be done before Christmas.
Right. I really think it will be. The Senate, the House, they did their work in the last couple of weeks to get their versions of the bills, and don't fall victim. Your listeners shouldn't fall victim to what they're hearing in the national media. They're not that far apart. These two bills, there are some tweaks around the edges that need to be addressed. But I'm confident. I've heard both the Senate leadership and the House leadership talking about getting their members together and working out these very small differences, and being able to have something passed, maybe mid to late next week, and getting it to President Trump's desk before Christmas.
Yeah, that would be so big. I think everybody will have a better Christmas than they know this could be done. I'm glad you made the point about these bills are closer than people think, because the press is making people sound like, well, they got to work all this stuff out. And I hope they don't have to work a whole lot out.
No, they really don't. The one big misconception, too, I had this morning with another outlet, was the Obamacare mandate repeal. Uh-huh. And I do want to explain for your listeners what that actually means. This is not repeal Obamacare, but what it does, it takes the mandate away. It basically says that you're not going to be taxed. And over 80% of that tax, the Obamacare tax, went to people making under $50,000 a year. So when Democrats are out there talking about how they're trying to protect the middle class, they're actually trying to keep a tax on the middle class for something that people don't want to buy. But if you're getting your health care through the exchanges, you're still going to be able to do that. You're still going to be eligible for the subsidies. You're still going to be eligible for the income assistance.
Mark, what about
taking away the mandate?
I know, but what they're saying, if you take away the mandate, that means they're going to have less money coming in, and premiums got to go up. Is that a lie, too?
Well, no, I don't think. I think there's a lot of doom and gloom that's projected out of that. Sure. But right now, you've already got people who are saying, "No, I would rather pay a tax than actually have to get a health insurance policy that I can't afford and won't use." What we're going to see with this is removing the mandate, and don't don't count out for 1 minute that the president and Congress still is working on a way to get Obamacare repealed and replaced with something that provides choices for people in Louisiana and many other places that'll lower those costs, allow people to buy the coverage they need, not necessarily buy the Cadillac coverage that's being mandated on them by Washington, D.C., and also empowering the states to be able to tailor programs that will best serve the needs of their people. I've worked for state government up until coming here with the president and vice president. I always worked at state and local government in Indiana, where I'm from, and I can tell you, you want people back in your state capital. You want people that live next to you that are making these decisions, not people who are far away in Washington, D.C.
I agree 100%. I'm just, just on Obamacare real quick, I just made a prediction they'll pass something next year, but I hope it's a sincere pass because I know it's an election year, and I felt like they should have done that already. And if they want to be sincere about that, they have to do it the first part of next year. They really do, because they can't wait to right before election and say, we did it. I don't want it to be a PR deal. I want it to be, something that's good and true. Hey, Mark, we do appreciate your time, sir, and God bless you.
Well, thank you for having me on.
All right, Mark Lauder, of course, former press secretary of Vice President Pence.